Your Normal Podcast, and I'm your host, Blake Russell. This is our first in-person edition, and I feel super lucky that you guys get to meet this person right here. I'm going to say her name now in just a second. Amber Wilson. Amber, introduce yourself, please.
Hello, I'm Amber Wilson. Me and Blake go back long time. We're basically best friends. He may or may not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I am a mother of 4. I have a bonus kid. I have an 8-year-old. I have a 4-year-old. I have a 1-year-old. And it's a lot.
What is a lot about it?
They all come from you, but they're all so different. You never know what to expect.
So at 1 year old, are they talking yet? I know nothing.
Okay. So he's like, mama, dada.
Really insightful.
But not even like calling you, just sounds.
Okay.
So like can make those sounds.
So you can just be like, you could be chilling, making like a waffle, and you hear, mama.
Yeah, he doesn't really want anything.
Yeah.
It's just the sound. I can make the sound, so I do it.
That's cool. You can make sounds.
And then you have 2 others making sounds all the time. It's the sounds for me, fam.
You call your kids R and R, R1 and R2?
R1, R2.
Is that for protecting them purposes?
So it became that.
Okay.
So it was initially like, your name's too long to type out. That was 1. And then it was like 2, like, people seem really interested in my kids. So I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then easy for the boy.
Yeah. I respect that.
Yeah.
I figured it was a combination. It couldn't have been all like super pure. Like your reasons couldn't. There was some like a laziness component.
Yeah. It's like, you know what?
With some like added flair.
Save the letters.
All right. So you're a mother of 3. What else should people know about you?
I'm a therapist. I am a therapist in private practice, and I'm also a therapist at a transitional shelter for moms and their families. So saying families, this is something recent that I've come to. It's for some reason I always thought that like families meant mom, dad, kids, right?
Yeah.
And I know why I thought that, right? Because that's what the world tells you. And then I realized saying transitional living facility for moms and their children. It's like those are families too, right?
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah,
That's their family unit, you know? So that's what I say now.
Well, no, I like joking aside, I think it's important to like we say shit all the time that's wrong.
Right.
Just because like people told us to do that.
That's what we say.
And then when you tell people like, hey, you know, the way you're thinking about this or the way you're saying this, and you like try to correct it, people get real fucking defensive, and it's like, I'm just like trying to tell you you're wrong. But
just like consider it. I'm not like pushing it down your throat. And they're like, match on kerosene.
Just take new information, process it.
Do with it what you will, but I just want you to. Can we get to the point of processing? That's what I need.
We're old. We're old, and we hate the world. That's the end.
It's awful.
All right. So you're a therapist by trade. Mm-hmm. You're a mother of 3.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I mean, you've worked like hella jobs in the mental health, behavioral health field. I know you did research. I know you did case management. I know you're a clinical assessor. You've done management.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else I'm missing?
So I did research twice. Actually, my first job in the field was in research. And that was in an infant cognition lab at Mizzou, which was like, whoa.
I know both those words.
Right. So let's put them together.
Baby
thought.
Thinking.
Right.
Say more.
Right. So basically, we'd set up these stages.
Yeah.
And there would be movement. And it was eye tracking.
Okay.
Timing how long babies pay attention to certain things.
Okay.
Looking at the what is that? The golden ratio. If we showed something on the screen with the golden ratio, did they look longer? Cool stuff like that. So that was my first job. Then I went to working with women who had intellectual disabilities and mental illness. And I was there for a very long time. I
Mhm.
started off doing, um, what is that? Not the face to face, but the lower.
I don't know what you're talking
You
about.
do the stuff for them with the person. Direct care.
Okay.
You knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, I thought a lot of things that you didn't just say.
Yeah, it's okay.
But that makes
We
sense
got there.
too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did that, did management, then decided that I was gonna go back to school and get my master's, have a baby, work full time, intern 15 hours a week. And I did that. I didn't die, but I should have.
Yeah. Maybe you did.
Yeah.
Maybe you did die.
I think I just skipped timelines.
I
died in that timeline.
I feel like we're both dead.
Yes.
Sam's gonna come in and be like, "You guys are dead."
Or she's just gonna be like, "The sounds are here again."
The walls start coming. Dude. Anyway, so tell me more.
So I did all that, finished my master's degree, left there to go back to research at WashU, personality disorders.
Oh, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah.
That shit sounds interesting.
Yeah. So I think that's when I was still in my master's program. No, I might have said that in the wrong order, but it happened around the same time.
Yeah.
Which came first?
Nothing matters.
Chicken or egg, whatever. So I did that. And I think that's when I realized I wanted that one-on-one, because we did semi-structured interviews and they were like 2 hours long. So you spent a lot of time with this person. And I wanted to do that. I was like, this is my jam, fam. And so, yeah, did the case management with people in the community with significant mental illness. That was the bomb. It was very hard.
It's fucking hard.
It's very hard. I did that for 4.5 years.
Shit.
Yeah. And left. Didn't want to leave, but needed to leave.
What do you mean by that?
I did. It's never the people you work with, right? It's never your clients.
No, totally.
Anything like that. It's everything else. So, and it was in Illinois. It was a 45 minute commute there and back. It was a lot.
Yeah.
And then had my kid. And I think during that time I got pregnant with my second one. So it's just, I couldn't be, something happened at school. I couldn't be there in 15, 20 minutes, So another inconvenience your children create for you.
Children are children very
so
much.
So much. Okay.
Yeah.
They are the apple of my eye. Okay. But yeah, don't do it. So needed to leave. So that's when I came over, did the clinical assessor. That's when we met. And then done that and worked with kids. Then went from there. Now I'm back with adults and kids and adolescents. So yeah.
You're liking what you're doing now, though, a lot more than other things I know
you've
done in the past.
I've never felt like I wanted to be at a place. Like, it's like you get there, you get to the job, you're like, oh, this is cool. We'll just see how long this lasts.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is where I want to be. I want to be doing this. These are the people that I want to be working with.
Yeah. You found your lane.
Yeah. What is that? What is that? The word people use? Niche. Yeah.
And I'll be honest. I always think of it. I think of the word niche.
But you hate to use it.
No, I think, is it niche or niche?
Niche.
And then I'm like, I don't
just not gonna say
anymore.
it. Yeah.
I'm gonna use a different word, and then I use a different word.
Yeah. I went to school a lot.
All right. So your mom, you have worked in behavioral and mental health since before Christ.
Right.
And I don't know. I know that you are married to Terrence.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about that at all?
Married for carry the one 11 years.
Wow. Congrats. That's a long time.
Yeah. It'll be 11 years in October. And so we've been together like 12-ish. And I never imagined that for my life. Like some women are like, oh, when I was a girl, I was planning my wedding in kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't on my radar.
No.
Only thing I knew is that I was going to have a daughter
Mm-hmm.
and we were going to like travel and shit together.
She was just gonna
It's going to be
appear.
hot girl summer shit. And here I am, married for 11 years with 4 kids.
It's a lot of kids.
It is.
They seem like great kids.
They are. They're excellent kids.
I,
but they're still kids.
Yeah, so when I think of you, like I instantly meshed with you, and it was like we had instant chemistry, and I identify the way you look at the world. I like think similarly, and like I have a lot of the same mental struggles about like everything is meaningless, and like I'm
Why
an
are we
individual.
here?
Yeah.
I'm an atom in the ether. Like
400 trillion to one. Why me?
Why me?
Like all that shit, but then like at the same time, like you like got married at a relatively young age, and like you did like the more traditional, I'll say, like approach to that part of life, and I haven't done that, and that's always been interesting to me because it's like I think it's just an example of we shouldn't put people in fucking boxes because it's like we approach the world and view the world very similarly, but like we've also approached the world very differently. But I met Amber at Adapt when she was a clinical assessor, and I was just starting out in case management. And I remember like I didn't know what the fuck you did. I just know you sat in the back office. Like,
that was my seat.
You just sat there all the time, and I knew like don't sit there. That's Amber's. Like that's what I equated it to.
Right.
But then I remember one time you were like, it was like probably my like 4th month there, and you were like, "Hey Blake," and I was like, "What's up?" And you're like, "Glad you're still here." And I was like, "Thank you." And then from that moment on, you're my person at work. But yeah, so it started out like where you just did an entirely different role as me, and then you got promoted, and then you like interviewed me, and I took your job, and we did that for a long time, and we have a really weird work history. So we went from like I don't know, doing 2 different things to you being my boss to both wanting out at the same time. And then we both
eject.
And then we both interviewed for the same job.
That was wild.
And then it was like we both wanted the job, but we both wanted the best for the other person. And then we found out way later that they had 2 openings. And I remember I got the call first.
Yes, I was out of town, living my best life. And then you called me like, you heard from them? No? Have you? Yeah. They offered me the job. And I'm like, congratulations.
I'm happy for you.
I'm hit.
Did I get stabbed?
Right. My chest. Yeah, and then I was like, fuck the rest of this day. I'm gonna lay in bed. And then was it that same day? Was it later that evening or the next morning?
Probably the next day.
Yeah, I think
I remember I held on to it for a while.
Yeah.
So when I got the call that they were giving me the job, they asked me, and I couldn't tell you this. Okay, so they offered me the job, and then when I was done like talking about money and all that shit, like they're like, "So we've kind of a weird question," and I was like, oh, "What's up?" And they're like, "Do you know? I mean, I'm assuming you know Amber Wilson," and I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "What do you like? Would you feel weird working with her?" And they approach her.
Really?
I mean, looking back, it's like
par for the course.
So, they asked me about it, and I was like, I could not recommend it enough. Like, and then I got off the phone, and then I knew that information, but I felt compelled not to tell you in the event they went a different way. Right. I didn't want to give you false hope. But then I felt like a dick because I was like, I got the job, bitch. Right. And I'm like, But I was confident you were going to get good news, and then you did. And then we were colleagues for like a little while, and then you had your youngest, and then COVID happened.
Yep. Then I came back, and then we were gone in 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Because I think I came back in. No. When did I have this baby?
You had it in like March, right?
April.
Yeah.
So I came back in July.
Yeah.
And then we were gone. I would think I was gone by September.
Right. And I was gone in December.
Yeah.
I hung around for a few more months.
Fool.
Shout out Epworth.
Right.
All right. So I had like everybody I have on the show. I have give me 5 words.
Right.
And we've already done mother and wife. I'm gonna skip that.
Okay.
But we have 3 other words here. I want to know in terms of healer. What were we talking about, dude?
So I don't think that I am a person who does healing, right? I don't feel like, oh, you can come to me and I will heal you. But that I can provide you the space to heal.
Okay.
Give you the space to heal.
And you feel comfortable sitting in that space?
Yes.
Okay.
And I also feel comfortable. I tell a lot of my clients sometimes that I will carry that for you until you can carry
it. I like that. Yeah. I've never said I'm going to steal that.
Yeah, whatever.
I made it up.
I'm going to trademark this shit.
But
good. Yeah, allowing people this space, because there's just so much that people want to say and need to say to heal. But when you don't have anybody that you can say that to, I think it really stunts you, you know?
Yeah. And it's interesting. I can't, like, as much as like the fact that we're having a conversation that we exist, like it dumbfounds me that like saying words with your mouth out loud, how hard that can be.
Yeah.
And how cathartic it can also be, and like the shit you feel in your body when you say certain things you've never said. And it's like, how the fuck does that happen?
Yeah. And it's really, and then it makes me think of what was that shit when you were kids? Sticks and stones may break my word, my
words, and bones will never word me.
You know how it goes. Google it.
It's real.
But yeah, and it's like words do fucking matter.
And then I'll talk to people that like aren't bad people, and you try to explain this shit to them, and it's like, well, just suck it up. And it's like, well, like, okay, but also you probably have shit that's wrong with you that you don't even know because you just suck it up. Like,
right. Yeah. That is not my grandma was saying something like that today. She was saying, she said something about corporal punishment was okay when I was a kid, and nobody ever died. And I'm like, that's why your kids are fucked up now. Like, no, they didn't physically die, but a part of them did.
Yes.
They lost a part of themselves.
Yeah.
And like not recognizing that although you present as okay, you can be better if you're allowed to say things.
Yeah.
If you can express yourself. If you can feel heard.
And there's just like, there's subtle behaviors that like linger into adulthood. If you're like a victim of abuse in any way or neglect, and like it can cause physical health problems. Yeah.
ACEs.
Yeah, it's incognito. Like it's like it shapes who you are, whether you
realize it or not. You are the way you are because of a summation of your experiences.
So within healer, though, you were talking about like you don't actively think you're the one that heals, but you provide the space and everything. And it made me, I don't know why I thought this, but it made me think like, are there things or topics with people that like I feel like would make most people like cringe or feel uncomfortable that you're just like, fuck it, let's do it? Like, is there anything? What is it? What's your thing?
Suicide is my thing.
Yeah.
Or suicidal ideation. That's my thing. And when I tell you, I couldn't assess whether I felt jaded or felt like clinically sound. We were having this training, I think it was like mental health 101 or mental health first aid or something of the sort at work for a group training. Yeah. And of course I'm like, I know all this shit. And the lady was telling some story about an 11-year-old that committed suicide. And I was just like, there were literally people crying in the room. And I was like, am I fucked up?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Because I realized that these things happen way more than people want to believe or can believe. Yeah. That bad shit happens to most people. And that is a hard thing to sit with. Yeah. Because you want to think the best of the world, that people have good intentions, and it's not always intention, And it's just like, okay, no, I'm just a seasoned clinician. But people, dabbing eyes, and I'm like,
Yeah. I have shit that like, so two things. Like you were talking about bad things happening to people. I was just talking to somebody recently and they said it like baseline life is just tragic. Like that is baseline.
Yep.
And it's like, and then just your choice with your thoughts and your behaviors. And some people are affected like more than others and whatever. But like it's your thought process and like how you deal with the tragedy. And then I forget the other thing I was gonna say.
Okay.
But
cool.
That's all.
Okay. Yeah.
The end.
Yeah. Period. Poo.
Shit. No. What was it, man? I gotta think of it. Okay. Hold on. Let's just hold. Hold. It ain't there.
When it comes back, just yell it out. Just yell it out.
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
So let me yell. In the same theme, like we have friends that live probably like a mile down to Lozan. The Lozan splits, and her boyfriend, this girl, it's our friend, and her boyfriend just moved in with her, and he moved from like New Mexico. They've been doing long distance, whatever. He just got there last week, and I woke up to a text in our little group text like Wednesday or Tuesday, and they were like, "Hey, so somebody got murdered in the front lawn across the street last night, and like blah blah blah, and like we're kind of freaking out, blah blah." And my impulse reaction was like, they were like worried about their safety and shit. And then I was just like, well, they probably had beef with each other.
Yeah, it was some shit going off. You wasn't involved.
And then I was like, is this me having lived in St. Louis for so long? Is this the work I do? Like, why do I feel nothing about it? It was like, it's not that I didn't have empathy. It was just like, it's okay. Like, they didn't kill you.
Shit happens.
I don't know. I think we're fucked up. I think that's what
you think, or are we masters at compartmentalization?
I think it's that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to make this all about me, but I want to tell one more story. So I had this kid that I worked with, the most awful. You're aware of this person. I'm not going to talk a lot about the specifics, but he had a really just awful situation that happened to him, and like I did a lot of work on getting him into this like after school program, and when you said master at compartmentalizing, this guy that's like revered in the state of Missouri as like a psychiatrist wrote this like amazing recommendation to get him into this it was an after school program. That's all it was.
Yep.
And then whenever I got it like all situated, I came up, I was like working in the basement. I came upstairs and I was like, Sam, like this guy. And then I just I broke the fuck down. I just like, and like I don't know where it came from, and then I just realized like I have been compartmentalizing all my feelings about this to help this person out.
Yep.
And then it just came out. It's weird.
Yeah, you have to put yourself aside and your shit aside to have that space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, credit to you for what you do, dude.
Yeah. You too, whatever.
Yeah. You're a lover, it looks like.
Yeah.
So what about this lover?
So I hate people, but I love people. Like I am, when it comes to like, not necessarily, I don't want to go down this whole social justice warrior thing, because that's what's cool on the internet these days. But like people on the street, people, like I make it a point to talk to the people that are asking for money on the side of, I might not have any money, you want a cigarette? One guy, he was like, yeah, I have schizophrenia and it just makes it real hard for me to hold down work. So I'm like, all right, Places for People's right up here on Lindell. That's the kind of person, that's how you show love. Like that, the fact that you're a human that has survived to be on this earth, you deserve respect. You're alive. I see you. You deserve my respect.
100%.
I don't care if you're sitting on the bus stop, sleeping on the bus stop, or you just got out of Ferrari. Like, it doesn't matter.
Where do you think that gets lost along the way for some people? Like, do you think it's when money gets involved? Do you think it's like the way they're brought up? Do you think it's a combination?
I think it's money always fucks with shit.
Yeah.
But I also think that just as Americans as a whole, we're just very self-centered people.
Yeah.
And that's how people have become rich. And then people then identify that as the American dream.
Mm-hmm.
And so those behaviors, we lock onto that because that's the way that you get there. It's
Mm-hmm.
about self. It's about
Mm-hmm.
self. And I always, even with the moms that I work with now, it's you may not have anything to give, but you can give someone your time, which
Yeah.
can make a world of difference for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. I wish I just wish things were different in this society that we live in, and
Yeah.
it's just not, and I feel really helpless about it. And I think that's part of the reason I got into the field is to like try to do something positive. I don't give people money every time, but like you're right. If you have a banana or like
Yeah.
whatever,
Do you want some of this food? Do you want a couple cigarettes? Do you,
yeah,
I asked one lady, I was like, because this is often women who are homeless are unhoused. That's the correct verbiage.
Mm.
Um,
What is it? Say it again.
Unhoused.
Okay.
I think it's supposed to take off some of the stigma and like it's your fault you're homeless. I don't know. But these are the words that they say to
Okay.
use. Yeah.
I don't. In terms of like other concepts, the terminology changing, it makes more sense in other contexts to me than that one. But okay,
Yeah.
that's what it
Yeah.
is now.
I think that's what
Unhoused.
they say now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, do you need pads? Do you need tampons? Because they don't have those things. But just that engagement, like that someone is concerned about your need.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Does that? I mean, I'm assuming giver. There's just a lot of overlap with that. But is there any
Yeah.
other thoughts or like things you want to talk about with that with giving?
Um, Not really. I think it's. I mean, because I'm a poor therapist,
Yeah.
so I don't have things to actually give most times. Might have a couple quarters left from the laundromat. But to small things. We had a mom that she got her GED, and so I went to the Dollar Tree and bought her a bunch of dollar candy. I can't give you the world.
Right. I'm not gonna get you a Corvette.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. I can't buy you your first car, but I can give you something to show you that what you've done.
that shit doesn't matter anyway. Like 20 years from now, she's not gonna be like, she didn't give me a Corvette. She's gonna be like, she spent her time with me. And she cared about
She
me.
provided me with support.
Yeah. There's a Maya Angelou quote about this. I'm gonna pull it. It's gonna be a deep pull.
Okay. All right.
People don't remember what you said or what you did. They remember how you made them feel.
Yeah, how you made them feel. Yeah.
The end.
Agreed. 100%.
But that's really a true thing. Okay, so we have some things.
All right, the things.
I want to start since we were talking about work and stuff. I want to ask you about two things.
Okay.
You have a hatred for the term self-care. And then also, like, I want you to speak about your motivation to continue working in the field that you work in and why you continue to do it. So let's start with self-care. Why do you hate it?
Oh my God. There is so much, especially people in the mental health, social services field. There's so much pressure on you. What are you doing for self-care? Do something for self-care. That it becomes a negative thing for me. I'm like, because then you feel like, oh, I'm a shitty therapist or I'm a shitty person because I didn't go get a pedicure. Like, like, oh my God, I didn't lay out in the sun and water myself like a wilted plant. I don't fucking know, but it's just like, I don't have time for that shit.
Yeah.
But then talking to my clients, I talk to them about it, right?
Yeah.
But when I break it down with them, I break it down for myself that it doesn't have to be these extravagant things that it seems like it needs to be restorative. Oh, you need to go away to a cabin in Tennessee with no sound. I got shit to do. I got Spires calling.
Sing in the shower.
Right. Okay. It's like, what are the simple things that you can do for yourself? But I think that we do more of it than we know, but we don't recognize it as self-care.
Yeah, there's not the emphasis on it, or you're not being intentional about this is self-care.
Right.
You're just doing it.
Right. So then is it just, do we just reframe our thoughts around it? Like when I go get this $7 cup of coffee from Starbucks, this can be self care.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It can be. So I'm
Yeah.
going to try to be intentional and mindful. I'm going to smell the coffee. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
try to allow myself, like, this is special
Yeah. I'm taking the time and spending the money on this
for myself.
because I will enjoy it,
Yes.
and then I'll continue to live. And
Yeah.
like, so is it less about, I want to make a distinction.
Mm-hmm.
It's less about the act of self care, it's more about the emphasis on it.
Right. Yeah.
And like,
The extreme pressure to do so. And it's my licensure supervisor gave me, I think I've probably told everybody I ever met this idea about our lives. So we're juggling lots of balls.
mm-hmm.
Some are rubber, some are glass.
Mm-hmm.
And it's figuring out and prioritizing which ones are rubber that you can drop to lessen your load some, so you have more room to function in those other things.
Mm.
And so sometimes that's self care, like, all right, I know I need to do this, but that's for Monday, Amber, to worry about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Self care,
yeah. I like, it took me becoming a case manager with Adapt to like be good at time management. But now I feel like a fucking boss at it. But you're right, like it's just all about like, this day I don't need to do this right now, and like just chilling the fuck out and
Right.
like, and it, but at the same time for me, when I came into this field, I haven't been working in the field very long. I was teaching before and shit, but like the emphasis on it was like, for me, I was like, this is just, they're talking about being a person, like they're just talking about like not working when you're not at work, like. And for me it was really hard to conceptualize, but the deeper I got into the field, I realized, and especially with COVID and like working from home, I realized how hard it is sometimes to like separate the two. But it's, at the same time, it's just super simple, like,
Right. But I think it's because before this, when self care became a focal point, it was all about, you are what you can produce. And that's a part of the American dream, right?
It's trickle down economics and being overworked.
Right. Overworked, underpaid. But yeah, that you are only what you produce. And that's completely unfair. Like that's your worth.
I know. And I get caught up in it bad. It's actually been really affecting me a lot, like this year. I started seeing a therapist myself, and it was like, when he was like, so when'd you come? I was like, well, I feel like I have to be productive all the time, and if I'm not, like, I feel really unsettled and I hate myself. And like, so I mean, it's really unfortunate. Like I've gotten some treatment and it's been fine and I feel better about it, but it's like, I don't know how that happens. I don't know how we get so focused on like, I need to be like better every fucking second than I was the second before, and if
it's
I'm not,
ingrained in us.
When we're kids.
Yeah, that's what our parents did. Fucking boomers. That's all they did was work. That's why they were absent fucking parents. Because work was it. That was it.
Yeah.
You are what you do.
And then we die.
At least they got to fucking retire, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking at 80.
Yeah. That'll be all right.
I'll die first.
We're living longer now. You'd be all right.
Right. Cool. Just give me like a good 10 years.
See, we'll hang out between now and then. Right. All right. So motivation to continue in the field. Because I know when we started talking before we recorded, I'm not going to like say everything we talked about, but it was like, you know, some days are better than others. Some days it's like, what am I even doing in my life? So speak to a little bit, like, do you want to continue in this field long term? What motivates you to stay in it? Like,
yeah. So I think I know this is my field. Like, I know that. I'm not a person like, I'm like, oh, well, I think I'm just going to go back to school and get a master's in public health or something like that. Yeah. Not interested in that. But I think that a part of it is the gamut of experience I've been able to get in the field doing so many different things. Yeah. And so it's like, now let's find the next thing and do that for a while. So, but serving people in this manner is the thing that I want to do. But I think I'm going to take more of a well, a hands-off approach, but also working more so on the other things, not necessarily like legislation, but maybe getting back into more research, that are still, it's a support to the field,
like a
but
bigger
it's
picture
yeah,
help,
yeah,
hands off.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I do love nonprofit. I do.
What
So I
about it?
think
Like
that's
just the concept itself, or like,
not necessarily concept itself, but just that in those types of businesses, you get some of the most underserved people, and just having the opportunity to, the women that I work with now, I tell the coaches that do the one-on-ones with them, um, we plant seeds here. We might not see them grow. We might not even be able to water them, but you just plant the seed. And like that opportunity, I feel super thankful for that opportunity. Yeah. That there's things can change. You can turn a corner. There's a catalyst for change,
And it also like reiterates like always like the change is always on the client, or it's like it's always within them, and like we can't do it for them,
right? And we can't own it, because I don't want to. It's not even just a negative. I don't want to own the positive. I want you to bask in that glory. Like, you need to feel the goodness.
It's your fucking life,
right? It's yours.
It's your life. I'm just like kind of here.
The phrase "what you eat don't make me shit." I don't have a horse in this game. I want you to be great because you deserve to be great.
Dude, I noticed something when you were talking just now. You use a lot of analogies when you speak. And Sam was talking to me over dinner the other night, and she was talking about her therapist and like an analogy, and she goes, I started thinking, and like she uses a lot of analogies, and you use a lot of analogies, and I was like, I don't do that. And then I just really like stepped back, and I was like, I fucking do.
I do.
And then I was like, is this a therapist thing? Like, we just talk about analogies?
Right.
Because you're a therapist and I'm a therapist.
Right.
But I mean, it's like, I don't know. That's how I communicate.
Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah, it does. It helps with, and I think, I don't know, because then you get like a lot of analogies sometimes that I use, like the one I just used from real country people.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just a simplified way of saying something, and that it's easier to digest.
It's easier to digest.
Yeah.
And it's like, especially if for like, when you're a therapist, like there's not a power dynamic. There shouldn't be, but it's like you're in a position of helping, and they're more vulnerable than you in that space. And when you use language, it's more like recognizable or like relatable. I think it's just like, oh, okay, like,
right.
It's you're not talking at them as much.
Right. And I think that's one thing in this job that I have now is that I've really enjoyed, is that super like, because I always knew that wasn't going to be my style. That super like classic therapist. Well, how does that make you feel? But never
looking up.
Right. I knew that was never going to be my style, but I think working with these mothers, I've been able to kind of explore what are the options in therapy. And with us doing, ours is basically solution focused brief therapy, because we don't know.
A lot of good that comes from that.
Yeah, we don't know. And that's all they can really be concerned about right now.
What's the problem?
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, of course, I can see that the reason that you have all of this pattern of unstable relationships is because of this trauma that occurred. That doesn't mean shit to you right now when you don't have a fucking place to live. So
can you tell people like just like generally what solution focused brief? Because not everybody's gonna be a therapist. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah.
It's just me. We're talking
lay people.
Just like I don't know.
Yeah, it's really about being in the right now. Like, what are the things that are currently bothering you right now? What are your issues right now? What are things that you want to work on right now? And a lot of times it's case management type of evolved stuff, where it comes housing, employment, parenting, things like that. But then also all of them need a space to speak. They just don't have it anywhere else. And so they're the driver, which is just how I function as a therapist, period. And we just, I'm just kind of your navigator. So how did we get here? oh, you bought a pair of earbuds for $175, but you're trying to get an apartment.
Yes.
How many pots and pans you think you could have got with that? Just sit with that.
Yeah. Next week.
Right.
Like...
Right. All right. Go ahead. Go on out there. All right. But yeah, just that non-judgmental approach is everything. That'll get you anywhere with anybody.
Do you ever work with people where you have a difficult time not feeling judgmental at all? Like, do you ever? I can think of a specific population, and that comes up with me a lot. But like, I didn't know if you ever had any experience with that. Like for me, it's people with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. Like for me, I'm like, I'll be frank. Like I'm just like, I don't care about your perception of this problem. Like it's just like this is not. You're not a great person. You know, all those thoughts, and it's hard to have empathy for that.
I think I thought I had that issue with borderline personality disorder, which has really turned me the other way. And I feel like I've become more of an advocate for people who have that diagnosis because they get so much shit in the field. You know, people don't want to work with them, with them. Damn it, they need help too. But it's hard fucking work. Yeah. So I get it, but like we have to not see the people as their diagnoses. These are still people. They still need help.
Yeah.
And so I had gotten a client in private practice, and I thought at first, like, oh, maybe, and I did the right thing, sought supervision, like this might become an issue because I have history with people with these diagnoses. And maybe it wasn't as positive for me as I thought it would be. But I really she is a great advocate for herself. And I think hearing her say those things really was like, stop giving these people shit.
Yeah.
They need help too.
And there's a lot of like actual evidence-based help that somebody, especially with that diagnosis, can have. And
right.
But you're right, like that's my experience too.
Yeah.
Like, people shit on that, and people shit on NPD. Like personality disorders are the hardest.
My thing, I was just talking to my friend about that. My two homies, my two girls, you know who I'm talking about. Everybody wants to be married to a fucking narcissist these days. Everybody wants to, oh, my parents were, oh, my ex-boyfriend was, oh, my ex-girlfriend was. Stop fucking overusing this shit. Yeah. But it always is something. You know, prior to that, it was OCD.
Yeah.
The overuse of that.
And PTSD. And like, it's like, do you know how fucking
I'm triggered.
Do you know how hard it is to have a diagnosis of PTSD?
Do you know how many motherfucking boxes you gotta check?
And like caveats and back.
Right. But if it's this one, check B and C. Yeah. Like you don't, and you are doing such a disservice to those people who struggle with it. And then when I see people with those true diagnoses, the suffering that they go through, for you to just trivialize this, it pisses me off.
Let's think of more. So there's narcissist is overused, OCD is overused, PTSD is overused. What else?
Bipolar.
Bipolar is way overused.
Now borderline personality disorder has become a new hot thing.
Yeah, it is.
And fucking TikTok.
Let's talk about that.
How do you know that you were raised by a narcissistic mother? Here's 5 things. And then everybody's like, oh my God, my mom's a narcissist. Yeah. That's why I'm fucked up.
Yeah, they say things that are like, it's the same. For anybody that likes horoscopes, I'm sorry. But it's the same thing as horoscopes. It's like they say things that are like, most people probably had that happen in some capacity.
If you looked at the general population, 80% of the people fall into that. So what you're saying really means nothing.
People with true narcissistic personality disorder, like for me, like in the clinician seat, like I can identify it typically first session or like really quickly. Like there's just traits that are so present, like no matter, I don't know. And then so like, and it's very difficult for people in those individual circles to like live with those people, and like they don't have a lot of meaningful
relationships. You're going through criteria in your head is what you're doing. You're checking the boxes and you're like, yep, this is it.
Yeah.
But you're a clinician, you know those things.
I know. But then but I just don't know, like I guess like for people that are listening, because we can sit here and bitch about people overusing it, but like for people that are listening to say like don't overuse it, and why? Like why would you say like speaking generally about it? Is it just because of the pain that other people experience as a result of people with true MPD, or what do you think it is?
Oh, I think it goes
Or the people that have MPD, the pain they experience too, of course.
Right. It's a circle. Like it goes with that was like an oval, but anyway.
Nobody saw it.
Yeah, okay.
Actually
Cool.
did it.
Oh, okay. But I think that as we see this, this popularization, it alters treatment. It alters diagnosing.
Mm-hmm.
Because then people become aware, and then sometimes the people who actually have it now won't be diagnosed with it because now we're viewing it as, oh, there's like ADHD.
Yeah.
Little black boys.
Oh my God.
All of them got it.
Yeah.
All of them got it, and we need to give them medicine.
Pop
it's
it.
that, yeah.
Pop it in there. But it's so fucked up because like I would meet kids with just significant trauma histories, single parent household, a lot of abuse, like, and then they're just getting like Adderall or whatever the fuck it is. And it's like,
you're treating a symptom of an issue. You're not actually treating the issue because the issue is the trauma.
Yeah, it typically is.
Like, it's the trauma.
It typically is the trauma.
Yeah.
Do you think that like, where do you think that problem happened? Do you think it's from like the for-profit system within the healthcare system, or
I don't even know if you want to get me started.
Let's fucking do it, bro. Let's fucking go.
So it's the demonization of the black man. Period.
Okay.
That's at America's history.
This is a natural segue because racial disparity is
next. Check that. Oh, we checking boxes.
So the demonization. Okay.
Yeah, that is America's beginnings. Mm-hmm. And so it just morphs. It never fucking changes. People always, you say you had the civil rights movement and then that changed this for black people. Well, then, but that didn't change the school to prison pipeline. It just is manifested in different ways. And it's the way the machine was built.
I like to use the word machine.
Because that's what it is. It's running. It's just running.
Mm-hmm.
And it's running the way that it was always meant to run.
It's in, what's the word? Impenetrable? It's an impenetrable. Is that a word?
It can't be penetrated? Or in? No.
It cannot be penetrated.
Right, there we go.
System. Like,
yeah.
It's weathering like the greatest storm we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's gonna come out on the other side the same.
And it's just it's the same shit, different toilet.
I used to get super worked up about this stuff, and I'd be like, "Do you understand the injustices?" And like, blah 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 blah. And then like I would like want to go make signs and fucking march, and now I don't know if this is a product of the machine winning or like what, but I recognize I'm an individual and like it doesn't fucking matter. And like,
well, my thing is, I think it just changes my perception on where I can make things happen. No, we can't stop this fucking machine. This shit's going how it's going. But what I can do is I can work with people, to try to help them through it. Because this is the way it fucking is.
Yeah. I think people like on the right, they would view like everything as like at the individual level, and that's how you make change and stuff like that. And I think that within yourself, that's a good way to do it. But then at the same time, it's like the income inequality, racial inequality.
Right.
It's so overwhelming.
Yeah, you're barking on the fucking internet about how wrong shit is, but what are you doing?
You're screaming into the void.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
What are you doing? And
then, so like I talked to a guy recently and we were talking about race relations in America. It was a white guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something to me, I'm not being judgmental. He said something like, like recognizing that like racism is a thing, but like he said, like for him, he just wants to get to know people individually and like he doesn't look at it.
That sounds really good.
So I want to hear from you, like, because for me, I was like, okay, that's his understanding, and like that's how he feels about it. At least that's how he thinks he feels about it. Whatever. For you, like, I want to know, like, one, does that piss you off? Like, what is that? Because I told him, I like reflected him. I was like, yeah, like, conceptually that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But people are part of systems, whether you want to like know that or not, and like that affects them in the way that they're brought up and then the way they live in the world, and you have to recognize that too.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, speak
Yeah,
please.
right. Speak. But no, it's like that sounds really good. Like one thing to piss me off, you want to piss me off, tell me you don't see color.
Yeah.
What? Say those fucking words to me.
What does that even mean? Like I don't.
What?
You don't.
No. What I need you to say is that you see color and you recognize that there are differences in our experience based on the differences of our color.
Yeah. But people, I don't know how to like. I'm a mixed race person, so like I experience both worlds. And when I say both worlds, like I benefited from being white, and then I've also like I have low self-worth for being brown. You know, like it's like I've had the gamut.
Right.
But for people that are white, and you try to like have this conversation with them, it's like there's a block, or like there's a mental fucking block of they can't entertain empathy, or like I don't know if it's like they would feel bad to admit that like they're part of a big problem.
That's what it is.
You think that's what it is?
I think that's what it is. I think it's the blame game, and they feel like when you bring those things up that you are wanting to blame them personally, and that's not the case. I want you to see this system is set up not to help brown people, black people.
Yeah.
It's not made for that. And that's not me saying, oh, you are the reason for that. Because you hear all the time, well, my grandparents didn't own slaves. Like, and I'm done having the fucking conversations. Yeah. I'm finished. I'm done. I want white people to call white people out on their shit. That's what I want.
I was talking to a guy recently at dinner, and he does a lot of rental properties. He's an older guy, and we were talking about like all the beautiful historic homes in like North City and like downtown St. Louis, and like how it's all fucking run down. I'm like, what is that, man? Like, and I expected him to like have something interesting to say, but he started talking about like, I don't want to paint him in a bad light, just in the event because he's not a terrible person, but he was basically saying like, well, they like, he said they,
one.
He said like they like, you know, they're not even, they don't throw the
red
trash,
flag.
they don't
number
throw
one.
the trash in the trash can, and they're like shooting at each other and like blah blah blah. And I like try to have empathy for this guy, and I tried to have like a really careful conversation. I'm like, well, you don't understand like the set of circumstances. It's like been a problem perpetuated since this time,
right?
And like a lot of them, you know, like they don't have a chance ever in life, and like, and then you're saying this, and then that further perpetuate, and it just doesn't fucking click, man. And the reason I brought this up, because like then he hit me with like, well, like I had a single mom. And like
my dad, you go. I flip this whole. I knock all this shit over.
my dad, you know, this happened to me, and like I had to work hard, and like, and granted, like he probably did.
My thing is, I'm not saying he didn't work hard.
He worked hard. And
you had the opportunity to work hard.
Say more.
Say more. That's where we start.
Say more about the opportunity.
The opportunity. It's people just don't understand how much exposure and opportunity can change people's trajectory. Because your mom was able to hold a job at a school for 35 years, and she knew this guy who started a landscaping business. Oh, well, you can go work for him. Why don't those things exist in the city? Well, because there's fucking underfunded. There's no people fucking living there who can pay tax. You know, you have that opportunity based on your privilege.
I feel like if you said privilege to some people, they would be like, so
I have privileges in some way. You know, it's not saying that only white people have privilege. No, I have privileges, but my privileges don't serve me and mine in the same way that yours do.
Can you think, I mean, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but can you speak to like privileges that you have?
Well, I mean, I feel like we were never poor. Like I had a single mother, but I went to private Christian school. I was able to go to college. That's the first person in my family to go to college.
You're able to get like shoes and shit. Like,
Yeah, like
yeah.
I'm doing things that it's a privilege to do, that
For sure.
people don't have this ability to do that.
For sure. Yeah.
And so but it's recognizing that, but seeing how that plays out in the larger system. Yeah.
So you are mother, and I know since the beginning of fucking time, or like since the beginning of like policing, that like Black people are not policed the same as white people. And people could argue that until the fucking cows come. I don't care.
Right.
Like, the evidence is on our fucking mobile devices all the time.
The Google machine.
So like us agreeing on that, like you're a mother, you have a son now. Do you think about this shit?
All the fucking time.
Okay, so
I thought about it when I found out I was having a boy.
That's like one of the first thoughts you had? That sucks, man. Yeah. So like when you have, I mean, just speak to it. Like obviously you're gonna think like, I'm gonna have to teach him about this, or whatever it is. Like what kind of thoughts do you have?
Well, and I have a bonus boy. So Terrence has a child with another woman, and he's
so teenager,
11.
Right? Yeah.
I think, he just turned 11. Lord forgive me if I'm wrong. Charge it to my head, not my heart. But he's a big boy. And it's like, I was just talking to my cousin today about like, my son is a big boy, and I'm like, once they hit a certain height, now they're a threat. They're cute when they're in the car seat, and oh, he's so handsome. Look at this, but he gets 4.5 feet tall, then he's fucking Tamir Rice. Yeah, it's a 20-year-old Black male, and he's fucking 12 years old.
Right. Do you think like, I don't know. Have you thought about like when you're gonna start having conversations with him?
It is ingrained. It's a means of survival. So there's not. Yes, we will have conversations, but we teach by what we do. My husband called me and said that he was getting pulled over, and my heart dropped. I'm like, stay on the phone with me. And he can't find his insurance. I'm like, don't be reaching in the box and
don't move your hands. I felt myself get kind of teary-eyed just now. Yeah, that because it's so fucked.
It's fucked. But I love my boys. Like I want great things for them. They will be great, but this world is not made for them. And so it's, how do we protect that?
Yeah. Do you think like, I don't know. Have you ever thought about like, I don't know. Have you ever thought about like how the policing could get better? Do you think it's just like, it's something that can't get better because people have personal biases and racism is very much
police is just modern day overseers.
Say more.
They're fucking this, like we were talking about before, it just changes. So instead of a white man on a horse whipping your back in the cotton field, it's a white man pulling you over in your car and killing you in your car in front of your kids.
Do you think that there's anybody that is in that position that like has good intentions, or like?
I believe that a lot of people go into it with good intentions, and I think there are people who go in it with, I'm going to change things, right? But you can't fight the machine.
Yeah,
and you end up getting, and then it becomes a means of survival for you. Now, this is your job. You have kids and all of this stuff. This is where your pension is and all of this stuff. And you break that blue line, it's over for you. So now you become complicit in these things as a means of survival for you. Not to say that that's the vast majority, because I think some people just have, I'm not going to say that. They just have been shitted on in their lives, and they want to shit on other people. Yeah. They need that sense of power, that sense
they're
of
projecting.
Control.
That's what we call them, the business.
Right.
But no, it's interesting because you're speaking to like a cultural component. Like that's what I see. Like people aren't gonna rat. It's like there's like the snitch thing in the police force. Like they have to, and I never thought about how you described it with like they have families and like this is their livelihood, and if they like stray away, then they're fucked.
Yeah.
And you're right. I never thought about it like that. It's like, why don't people just take a stand and like say that was wrong?
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's like a fucking cult.
Yeah.
When they have their hands in so much of your life, it's not as easy. It's not just as easy to just be like, oh, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm calling CNN. Like, no, it doesn't work that way.
I feel myself like I'm thinking about people I know that are police officers. And some of them are like people that like aren't my best friends, but like I've known them a long time. And then some like I spend time with now, and it's like, I don't know. And one of them recognizes what's up, and then the others I think are like in a similar mindset of what you were just describing. But then it's like I know them as an individual, and similar to when you were like people aren't their diagnoses, people aren't their jobs,
right?
But it's hard to.
But they are intertwined in a way. You know, it's not the sum of the entire person, but it's definitely a part.
It's a big part.
A big part.
40 hours a week of them.
Right. Like, you end up spending more time with your fucking job than you do with your family.
Yeah. Did it? I mean, I'm assuming that the traffic stop with Terrence.
Yeah.
Standard.
Okay.
Like, fine.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody once about this, and they were like, I just don't get it. Like, just do what the cop asks you, put your hands on the wheel, and like everything's gonna be fine. I'm never worried because I just do what I'm supposed to do. And it's like,
do you watch fucking TV? do you watch fucking TV? Do you live in a fucking cave? Because you tell the police, I have a gun in my car, it's registered, I'm just letting you know that it's in here, and you end up dead.
Yeah,
murdered in front of your child.
Which guy of 9 million was it? Philando Castile?
Yep.
Was that who it was? That one.
You're outside supposedly selling loose cigarettes, and you're dead.
That's the hardest one I've ever watched, or like the most difficult one for me to watch.
If you haven't watched, have you watched Fruitvale Station?
I have. Tell people about Fruitvale Station.
Fuck me up.
Michael B. Jordan. Oh my god.
Right. Oh my god. He's so hot.
But okay.
But yeah.
Back to darkness.
Yeah. New Year's Eve. My man's was on the subway with his friends. They were going to a party or coming back from a party. I can't remember. Coming back. End up, was it that they fit the description or some shit like that? You know, that classic line.
It was something like that.
Right.
And like, well, they also, like, one of them had like somewhat of a altercation with somebody.
Yeah.
Like,
and
they
so
were arguing.
Yeah. Just words.
Yeah.
Police come through, zip tie everybody on the ground.
Yeah.
And they end up dead.
Yeah. The guy, so this was based on a true story. And the dude was like zip tied on the ground. He's probably like 21. Had a kid.
Yep.
Zip tied. Couldn't go anywhere.
Nope, not a threat anymore.
And he was like, granted, he was pissed off.
But he's yelling from the ground with his hands. It's words.
And then the guy shot him in the back. And then they said that he thought he had his taser out.
How many times do we get to do that? How many times can you say, oh, I thought I had my taser?
Yeah.
When okay, it's either you're fucking lying or the training needs to be fixed, or you don't need to have a gun.
Yeah.
How many times do you get to make that? You're supposed to be trained. Yes, people make mistakes, right? But you don't get to make that mistake.
In my understanding, there was one recently where somebody got killed.
I think it was a lady cop.
A lady cop killed.
And she thought she said she thought she had
like
a
when
taser.
you watch the video, she's like, oh, I thought it was my taser. But then the police chief or whoever it is that is the spokesperson for the agency was saying that they're trained. And I didn't know this, that they're trained specifically to know that like the taser is on the non-dominant side.
Yeah.
The gun's on the dominant side.
Because I'm like, I know you are trained.
But I would be interested, like, I think I am in the future, I'm going to interview one of these people that I know that it's a cop. And I'm going to be interested to know.
Yeah, how does that happen? And then are you with mental health stuff, we get trained, how do you work in a crisis, right? How do you keep your head level and deal with this crisis? How do you bring people down instead of escalating them?
Yes.
I have that training.
Mm-hmm.
They got it. They just don't train them. That can't be the case.
Where is it that they're doing? They're like sending social workers. They're doing like triage of situations,
right? And sending social workers instead of.
idea.
I think it's a great idea.
At the end of the day, too, though, it's like you could just train the police officers longer and teach them these
skills as well. Yeah.
I think the police force needs like an entire retraining situation. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to get your mind on that because, like, I don't know. This last year's been really fucking bad with it all. Like, and then
I think we're just more aware of it because it's on TV. I think the shit happens all the time. I think it happens more than we fucking know.
Yeah.
And if you're not in that local area, you don't hear about it.
Mm-hmm. But then it's like people that want to pretend like it's not a problem or that it's not as big of a problem,
like as
we're saying. But it's like they'll make that point. They're like, this is something that's always happened, and like, do you know how many ways that other like people can die, and like, and it's like you're just being made more aware of it because it's on the media now, and it's like, why does that matter?
But that doesn't make it okay.
I don't know why that matters.
It doesn't make it okay.
It's still happening, and it should not be happening.
Right. Yeah, and it's like Mike Brown here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if he sold 16 boxes of Rellos. Does it deserve being shot down and killed?
Right.
If he was selling loose cigarettes, does that deserve to be shot down and killed? If you're getting pulled over for a fucking out tail light, does that mean that you end up going to jail for that because you wouldn't put your fucking cigarette out?
Yeah. Yeah.
And end up dead in jail.
Does it match the crime?
Right.
Does it match? And there's a guy, I forget his last name, it's DeRay McKesson or something like that. He's
Isn't he dead now? Or did I just kill somebody?
He's living. He's still living.
He's an activist though, right?
He's an activist.
But there were a couple of activists that were here in St. Louis that ended up dead and totally weird shit like in cars by parks and stuff.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
But this guy, I was listening to him speak on a podcast. This guy is an activist and he's like talking about like addressing police unions and like training, and he's like really focusing on that. Mm-hmm. He's doing a lot of good work. I think he has an organization. It's cool. He's like trying to change shit. But he was talking about what you were just talking about with like when is it okay for somebody to die by the hands of the police? Mm-hmm. Like when is that okay? And he said the way he thinks about it is, he says like think about the person in the world that you love the most. Mm-hmm. Put them in your mind, and then think about them getting killed by the police, and then think about all the things that they could have done for you to be like, that makes sense. And whatever that is, okay, but it's probably not going to be a lot of things. So like, what the fuck are we talking about? It's going to be like, I don't know. It's a mess, man.
Yeah, it's a whole mess. And I was talking to a friend about how we used to watch fucking Cops, and that shit was funny to watch cops chase around people, trip them, beat them up, put them. Like, how do we get from there to here? But is that a part of the desensitization of cops abusing power?
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
And then we die.
Dust in the wind.
My mom told me, I don't know, a couple years ago, she said, I want that song to play at my wedding. Or my funeral.
Was that a Freudian slip? Should we discuss that?
I had a professor in college that my first day of class was calling Sigmund Freud fraud, like spelling fraud. And I was like, I'm glad I'm paying thousands of dollars to be here.
I'm so glad to be here right now.
But the rest of the experience at grad school is great. All right. So outside of like policing in America and racial disparity, like, is there anything with race that's like, you got a fucking burning desire to talk about?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well,
just stop fucking being shitty to brown people.
Yeah. Let's do it.
End of story.
That's it.
Hard stop.
Or like low key, just like don't feel attacked if somebody's trying to tell you about their own experience, or like an experience that like you may have an indirect hand in?
I just had a situation like that. So this was an interesting thing for me to try to address at work. Um, Long story short, we have a staff member who is male presenting.
Okay.
And it's been seen that some of the other like higher up staff often ask her to do things very physical, like
Oh, weird.
all of this
Subtle.
fucking.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, I think I need to say something because she kind of mentioned it to me. So I'm like, if she's feeling some type of way, I have to speak.
Even if it's a little bit.
Just a little bit. If you're feeling a little bit, then no, let's address this.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that conversation in an open dialogue with the leadership team. And when I tell you there was a person on the defense so hard about this, and I'm like, yo, I'm just recognizing the pattern and I want you to see this and just don't do that. You know? Yeah. Like just don't do that. Like check yourself. When you're thinking about who you're going to ask to do what, remind yourself of this. And it was like a fire to the flame. Like,
what do you think goes behind lashing out? Why is that a response many people go to?
Well, I think people feel like when you bring up something that is not even necessarily negative, but a question about why you did or said or whatever, they feel personally attacked. So I think it's partially probably low self-esteem, but it's also probably a history of trauma where when someone tells you did something wrong, it's always a big thing. And that now you're a bad person because of this, or
100%.
Yeah. That true internalization of those words. Like, that means I'm a shitty person. It's like, no, fam, I'm trying to like let you not be one. I just feel like, hey, I saw this and
I'm not being critical.
Right. No, I'm not. I have no negative feelings towards you because of this. I just like.
I find myself saying that a lot when I'm talking to people with like significant trauma, where I'm like, there's no judgment behind what I'm about to say, or like I'm being critical, or
yes.
And I think, I don't know if it helps, but it seems to help because people don't like I'm talking about in work, like people don't like lash out and shit. But like that's what it is. Like you have to really delicately just like present it to
I'm gonna say it, but then I'm gonna remind you, like I had a client before that I had to tell her, I think she missed a session, so I was like, all right, you get to use your get out of jail free card, but just to remind you, if you miss again less than 24 hours, I just have to charge you the full session fee. And I said in the end of my email, you are not in trouble. And the next time we met, she was like, I was so glad that you put that in there. You're not in trouble. Yeah, because it's so internalized that if you make a mistake, you're in trouble or you're a bad person.
I'm glad you said that because I've sent like no-show emails and stuff, and like I've gotten like, what does it mean? Like, am I going to get kicked out? Like, blah, blah, blah. And it's like no. Like, and you have and now I'll just be better I'll be more intentional about my language. It's important. Words matter.
Words matter. But then we were just talking about dude on the floor. Yeah. When do words matter? Do they matter all the time? Yes, they matter all the time. But do you then temper your reaction to those words?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we figured out life, guys.
Yeah, there we go. Done.
45 minutes.
Dropping them.
All right, so I'm going to wrap this up in like the next, 5 minutes.
Okay.
We have Netflix movies.
Yo.
You got some cool shit you've been watching?
Netflix has saved me.
This year or what?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like the only thing I can do. It's the only thing that I can do for myself. Yeah. It might take me 4 days to watch a movie that I want to watch, but I can do that. Because we got fucking Coco Melon and shit on Barney and Friends. Fucking YouTube.
I don't have that problem here.
Yeah. Hashtag blessed. Okay. But it has been because it used to be like, oh, how much TV do you watch? It's unhealthy if you watch it. And then TV has like been people's savior.
Yeah.
Like your only connection to the outside world.
Yeah. And it's like you watch that and then everybody's watching it, and then you go
So
to
now
social
you have-
media,
yes.
and then you can talk about it.
You can talk about it.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
we're all just like on our couches, like, I miss
Right.
people.
what episode are you on? Yeah. It has been so good. So, and then finally, like, I used to hate movies with subtitles.
Mhm.
Distracting for me. You know, people
I feel
say-
that way now. So, are you gonna change my mind?
Yeah. So
Okay.
foreign films.
Ah.
Worth it. Like for me, Korean horror.
Mhm.
Worth it.
Dude, I had a
Worth
cli-
the fucking subtitles.
I had a fucking client that was like Korean horror films.
Yo.
I can't stop watching.
Me either.
There was the one that like got all the notoriety like a year and a half ago. Maybe it wasn't Korean, and I'm being a piece of shit right now.
What was the name? What was the name? Because now I have to put it on my list.
It won. It won Best Picture.
I don't follow any of that shit.
Best Picture.
Oscar's so white.
Korean movie. Parasite. Have you seen
Yes.
Parasite? Okay.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So as I get Sam, like, I don't know what it is. I can't pull the trigger on watching the movie. And Sam's
Really?
like, I don't know, once a month, like, you want to watch Parasite? And I'm like, I don't want to watch anything else right now, but I know I don't
want to watch it.
So what is it? What's great? Tell me about it.
It's just the way that the films are made. Like, I think it's another thing, a part of that whole, I'm an American and America's best, and we make the best movies, and we got Hollywood now, and we're missing out on so much more of the world. This excellent entertainment because of the language barrier, which is really fucking petty for us, as the rest of the world speaks at least 2 languages.
Right.
On
And
the
most
whole
of the time
problem.
it's English or like
English, they're
accommodating us.
Right. Right. Same with the fucking metric system.
Yes.
I'm sick of it.
That doesn't mean that's a whole. We talk.
We're not special.
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah.
It's the elitism for me.
So it's just the way they make it, like, or is it just like
it's just good
their
movies.
culture and like,
yeah, the gore, even the I would say probably my favorite is like a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Like Shutter Island.
That's great.
That shit slapped.
Dude,
I'm like, where can I get some more of this?
Was he crazy at the end or not?
Or
I shouldn't say crazy. Fuck.
Now you're being a piece of shit for real.
Was he aware?
Right.
At the end? It's a great movie.
Yeah.
The way they shoot it.
Yes,
really
it was
well done.
beautiful.
It was
really
beautiful.
Well, what was that other one that it was white people out in the farm and shit? They would wear all the women had on these pretty headdresses. Fuck. But it was like crazy, like kill the virgin shit. Oh man.
Village? No.
That was an M. Night Shyamalan movie, wasn't it? Yeah.
That one's just flat out kind of weird.
Yeah, he's kind of weird.
We don't know the name of it.
Yeah, but y'all will know. You know what I'm talking about. You know, the picture is the girl, and she's all like that. Okay, exactly like that.
Totally. All right.
Yeah.
We're going off script here. We scripted the whole thing.
Yeah, we wrote it out. I got a teleprompter right there.
Okay, so do you have any final thoughts? What you want people to know about you?
I think I should talk about being a mother more.
Let's do it.
Just a little bit more.
Okay.
Because I think you know me, right? Yeah. But the world doesn't.
Can I tell you something real quick? When we were talking about lashing out, when you brought up the mother thing just now, my immediate reaction was like, did I not bring it up enough? And then I wanted to say it. And I was like, what the fuck am I talking about?
It's not about you, Blake.
Continue.
Okay?
All right.
But so I was, out of my friend group, I was the first person to have a kid, right? And that was at some point, it's a very isolating thing. Because then it got weird. Like, oh, we're going to go to dinner tomorrow night. Can you go? Fuck no. I got a baby hanging off my tit. But I still want to be invited, you know?
Hey guys. Yeah.
And so it was, but I think as I grew in motherhood, I've come to realize that the stage that I'm at in my life is where my time and energy is invested into my children. And I'm okay with that. I feel like people think like, oh, you're missing out on so much and you don't have the freedom. Make sure you do something for yourself. I'm not a fucking battered mother. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Right.
Because I know that there's an end to this. And then it'll be the next chapter where I'm going to be turning up in Jamaica at 50 years old.
Done.
You know, right, done, right, success. You know, that's the goal. But like recognizing that my job right now is to pour into them. So then when they get out in the world and they start getting hit by the world, that when the glass spills a little bit, they're never empty, you know?
Is it like, for me, like the only thing I seek meaning in right now is like what I do for a living and like my relationship to Sam and like being Willow's parent and shit. But like, does it just give you a new sense of meaning? Like, is that?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Like another purpose and feeling like, I think we were joking about earlier, feeling like being a therapist is your calling, your purpose in life. But I feel like being a mother is a part of my purpose.
Yeah.
You know, I always knew I wanted to have a kid. Never expected to have more than one, but here we are. Yeah. All of my kids were playing, okay, we don't have accidents. I was just stupid and was like, yeah, let's have another one.
Let's do it. But no, I like that because it's like, I do think for me, when I don't have kids, I don't have kids. I think maybe one day I do want kids. I'm also super conflicted because the world
is fucked
world.
up.
It's a world, man. But I live in it and like, you know,
right,
whatever. But I always think about like, when I'm thinking about it now, I'm like very mindful of time, and I'm like that. I view it as like lost time, and that's probably the way wrong scope because you're saying like now it's just what I do, and like I don't need to do this.
Right,
I like this,
right? Because before this, I did a whole bunch of crazy shit. Okay, I went places, I saw things, I saw people, I did stuff. Okay. So I'm okay with this stage. I don't feel like I am missing out or losing anything right now.
Yeah. Do you? Last question. Well, maybe not.
Whatever.
We'll see. I got a day.
Right. Nothing but time.
When you think about your kids growing up and being their own people, how much of a hand do you plan on having, like in like when they're a teenager and like pushing them to go to college versus not going to college?
No, we already have those conversations. So I think
that's awesome.
I was talking
right now
to
already.
Hell yeah.
Let's do it. Let's tell me about it.
Yeah. So I was talking to a friend, one of my interns at work. She's got a 2-year-old, and we were talking about how this generation of kids, and especially Black kids, are going to be the most like self-aware, validating, loved, communicative group of kids because they're being raised by us. We are now so aware of how we speak to our kids matter. What we do with them matters, not what we give them or what we provide them, the time that we spend with them, the space, allowing them to be themselves and be kids, not the, you know, you don't speak unless you're spoken to, or there's adults in the room, so you go somewhere.
Yeah.
Like there's so much change. And I think that is so like freeing for them. And that's my hope. But yeah, we talked about college, and we already said, my husband and I, and you see this all over the Facebooks and Black Twitter all the time, talking about how Black families, we kick our kids out. You turn 18, you need to go out and be an adult. Got to be an adult. And like not having that view, like you will always have a space in my house.
Yeah.
As long as you get done with high school, do what the fuck you need to do. Do you want to go work somewhere? Do you want to go do technical school? Do you want to go to McDonald's and work for a while? Whatever. Yeah. Just do something. I want my kids to be happy. I want them to feel fulfilled. Yeah. And I can't determine what that will do for them. You know, all my job is to provide the exposure. Here are the options.
Yeah, that's how you view it.
Yeah.
Give them the options.
Give them the options.
Is that with every like big thing in life? Is that how you view it as a parent? Like, whether it be like job and profession or relationships or religion or any of it? Do you just give them options, or how do you approach it?
Yeah, I feel like kids become their own person way earlier than people recognize. My kids now have distinct personalities.
Yeah.
They are different.
Yeah.
And so learning their personality as they're coming into their personality, me being behind, like, oh, okay, that's what you're doing. Okay, that's who you are now. I'm just keeping an eye on it. Just keeping an eye on it. We got, there's always some hard no's, but it's just like, let's talk about options.
Yeah.
What does it mean if you do this? What does it mean if you do that? And that's even like, I ask my kids questions about like, is that the best choice that you can make?
Yeah.
And letting them determine it.
It's a beautiful thing to hear this, because I don't know if people listening knew this, but kids are people. They're
whole people from day one. They are not your vessel. They're not yours. And that's how I feel about my kids. They're mine. I birthed them.
Right. And you always have that connection.
Yeah.
And like,
but there's not that sense of ownership. You're your own person.
Yeah. My job is to, like, I don't know, at least the way I'm interpreting what you're saying, it's like, I'm here to like make sure you fucking stay alive. One. And two, like, I'm gonna present you with all the options, and I'm gonna help you make better decisions and critically think. And like, I'm gonna make you emotionally intelligent, and then good luck. Right. And, like, I'll be here to pick you up if you fall.
Right. I'm here. Got your back.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can you be my mom? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm good. I don't need no more.
I love you, Mom. You were a great mom.
Right,
I was just kidding.
Mom.
But Amber sounds like a great mom too. Okay. So I don't have anything else I want to talk to you about, really. Do you have anything else?
Nah.
You have anything that you want to say that's profound? You want to sing some Atlantis?
Yeah. Oh no.
There it is. It's the end.
Peace.